Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where today you join me for a drive that I am really very excited about. Behind me is a good friend of mine's McLaren MSO HS. Now some of you might remember about 3 years ago I actually addressed this car as to whether it might be possible for me to add one to my collection, but of course they went to the super VIPs of McLaren. There are only 25 of these in existence around the world. It is basically the ultimate in the 12C 650S 675 LT platform, the P11 as known by McLaren. And today I'm going to be showing you around this car, talking about what makes it so special before going out for a drive to experience what it's like and see whether one of these would have been right at home in my collection. I have a feeling that I'm going to quite enjoy this. So let's have a look then before taking it out to go for the drive. What makes this thing so special then? The MSO HS is a product of McLaren Special Operations. The HS stands for High Sport, following on from a 12C HS that had been made before. Some people call it the 688 HS, referencing the 688 metric horsepower or 679 brake horsepower that comes from the 3.8 litre twin turbocharged V8. So you will notice that is 13 horsepower more than the 675 LT on which it's based, a car of which there were 500 coupes and 500 spiders. This though, only 25 in total. There is technically no official spider version of the MSO HS, although they've also recently made the MSO R and the MSO R Spider as well. But this, one of 25, all highly customized. No two cars are the same, and you will see a lot of options that come from MSO. So the car itself, as well as having the tweaks to the engine, also has a few visual and aerodynamic upgrades that you will probably have noticed immediately. So around the front, you have these flicks around the side, the canards. The bonnet is made from carbon fibre, in this case with the central section exposed. You have some other MSO options that you could opt to have on the 675 LT. So for example, the carbon louvres that you have there above the front arches. You've got the carbon roof snorkel. Now I've not driven a car at a 675 LT with a roof snorkel, so I'm going to be intrigued to see what that's like as well. Coming around the side, all the exposed gloss carbon fibre that you can see on this. And then we get to the back where you have this much larger wing. The car was released in 2016, so it was inspired by the P1 GTR that had recently launched as well, the track-only version of the McLaren P1, the hybrid hypercar. But in this case, like the other Super Series models, it's actually still active. So the 675 LT had a wing that was kind of integrated into the fender here and sat quite flat at the back. This is obviously raised up quite significantly. You've got the aggressive shapes to it, you've got the end plates as well, but it also still acts as the air brake. So when you slam your foot on the brake pedal, it shoots up into the air and basically creates a wall up behind you. And I think, well, kind of an early precursor to what we now see in the Senna as well. Then around the back, you've got a lightweight exhaust system, which sounds absolutely mega. Lots more exposed carbon fibre down here too. But it takes the 675 LT and it really is that extra special, even more exclusive version of it. Let me show you the interior as well. There are some few custom parts of this. And firstly, I'm just going to grab the key out of my pocket to show you very quickly as well. Painted to match with the car, MSO HS. Let me pop that back away, unlock the car. Just open up the doors and have a look in here. So you've got the carbon fibre side sills and panels here. You've got MSO HS on the side plate there as well. In the centre, something you didn't normally get. You could get the P1 style bucket seats in the 675 LT, but you certainly didn't have this diamond quilting through the central sections, and of course the MSO HS embroidery up at the top. And if I show you up towards the roof, have a look at the scoop here, how you have this lovely bit of sculpture inside just under the roof for the airflow basically being directed towards the engine, because typically the 12Cs, the 650Ss, the 675 took in air through here for engine cooling. The snorkel basically replaces that. So you don't get more power by having the snorkel, it just changes the way it's fed through, and of course you get the sound effects of having that right above you for a bit of aural symphony, which we will be hearing shortly. Inside though, it's pretty much like the 675 LT. So that saved weight, taking away the air conditioning controls from these panels, putting speakers there instead, bringing the aircon into the centre, incorporating the lightweight seats as well, Alcantara to save a few kilos. The 675 took 100 kilos out from the 650S that came before it. What else do we have? The track telemetry cameras, track focus car. So if I just come around to show you, there are actually 3 of these, one down here in the front, and then also one at the rear. which all tie in to the recording system. You've got one for the reversing camera, one for the track telemetry. So those all tie together to basically mean that you can record your track sessions, and I think some of these are being driven properly. This car is certainly used. It's absolutely loved by the owner, who is my friend, who's kindly allowed me today to come and have a look at this during my tour in the USA. And yes, I'm a big fan. Things like, for example, here, having that heritage style badge. If I just pop open the bonnet as well, one press of the button, pop this up. One difference with this versus the other McLarens is that on the underside you have the exposed carbon fibre as well, all the gloss carbon fibre, much lighter than the standard piece, and in fact it just feels light even to the touch. Close that back down, give it a press. Let's come through though. You also got all these white accents that go around, including on the wheels, carbon centre caps, ceramic brakes naturally, rear wheel drive car, 7-speed dual clutch gearbox. But let me take a step in here and I will start it up. Here we go, MSO HS, and also, by the way, just up on the door, limited edition, chassis number 17 of 25. A very special car. It's done about 2,000 miles. So let me hit this button and bring it into life. Yes, so it's a familiar sound, of course, to me, just starting it up from the likes of the McLarens that I've owned before. But let's take this one then for a drive out on the roads to see, I guess, a little bit of what I might be missing out on. Welcome then to the North Carolina countryside in the MSO HS. So familiar, yet so different as well. Now at the moment I'm just cruising along in full automatic mode. I've not got the active dynamics panel enabled at all. Taking it easy, just getting a small sense of what this is about. And one of the first things that I'm noticing is the extra noise that you get through the scoop. That sucking of air coming in right over your head, an epic sound. Now the scoop actually raises the height of the car, which slightly oddly does lower the top speed of it by like 1 or 2 miles per hour, completely splitting hairs at that. But just driving along in this, I'm going to try and find myself the twistiest road I possibly can. It feels incredibly tight, incredibly well put together. It feels, well, like a completely brand new car versus, you know, my 675 LT that I've done about 12,000 miles in. Just a little bit more refined. The sound is a bit crisper. I'm going to enable active dynamics panel, you'll get a bit more of what I mean by that. So I've got the handling in sport, just firming things up slightly. You've got normal, sport and track. You've got the powertrain as well in sport, normal, sport and track. And similarly to the 675 LT, in sport mode you get ignition cut, which means you get the pops and cracks. So if I give a press of the manual button, you get the MSO shift lights illuminating as well. Drop down some gears. Yes! Oh, that's where it comes to life, and it sounds so epic. It's louder than the 675, certainly to do with the exhaust and also the intake above us, but it's also frantically fast. This is, I mean, not a surprise, right? This is what I loved or love about the various McLarens that I've owned and about my 675 LT Spider, and why that car is a keeper for me. They did actually make the MSO Carbon series, 25 units in a full exposed carbon fibre body of the 675 LT Spider, but in terms of the coupes, this is really the very top, the ultimate, the flagship of the range. A car that, as I referred to earlier, when I made a video when it was announced, many of you were asking me at the time if I was going to get one of these, because of course I had owned the 12C, 650 Spider, the 675 Coupe and the 675 Spider, and everyone said, so are you going to get an MSO HS? Well, what you have to remember is 25 units. Shortly after McLaren had sold the 375 P1s, so they're really picking from their most VIP or VVVV VIP of customers. So at the time, somebody like myself, I don't fit into that niche at all, or that mould, as much as I would love to have had the opportunity to do so. It was never ever going to be an option for me. Unfortunately, sadly, had it been, then I think that probably would have superseded the LT Spider, and that would have been the car that remained that permanent spot in the garage. And that's how I'm feeling driving it right now. It just feels like the engine is so clean. The way maybe it's been slightly tuned differently to get that extra power, the same torque as I mentioned, but it's just so, I don't know how really to describe it other than saying it's less raw, it's less, I would say, agricultural, and it's more of a crisp sound. I love this thing. I'm just hoping right now that this bad weather that looks like it's ahead isn't going to come into play. The pops, the bangs, the cracks. It's really really nice. Of course, we've got the hydraulic suspension set in sport at the moment, which means when we go over these slightly bumpier sections, it actually rides pretty well over them, considering. What you have to remember is that this is a really, really special car. I don't really know where the values are. Oh, we've got some drizzle coming down on the window. That means I'm going to quickly swing around and head back the other way, because that's not ideal at all right now. So let's crack on with this. Get away from the rain clouds. We were looking a little bit at the map and seeing that they were coming this way. So if we escape back with the Trofeo tyres, I think we've got fitted. The ferocity of this car. You get those blips out of it, kind of warning you or indicating to shift up, as well as getting some blue flashing lights on the dashboard. It's so quick, but it's the way it's so balanced as well. This is what I love about it. The steering feel is phenomenal. The front end of this generation of McLarens is completely dialed in. You have such precise feedback, very, very tight steering ratio, so you're not turning the wheel particularly far. In fact, you can keep your hands fixed on it pretty much all the time. That does have the sacrifice that the turning circle is atrocious, but for general driving, it is so, so, so spot on, and it feels like a light, almost rigid board. It has no flex to it, no bend, just completely planted. Yes, that does mean it's a little bit bumpy sometimes when you ride over some uneven terrain or whatever, but basically it feels like a road car, but with so much race character. Sometimes with a car like the Senna, it is so hardcore that it actually detracts a little bit from the experience, because you're constantly having to concentrate so hard, and it's so noisy and so crazy, it's a little bit uncomfortable, whereas this is just so spot on as a car to drive on a nice countryside road, to enjoy in this kind of location. What a good time. I love it. I absolutely love it, and I wish I could have got one. I thought that was going to be my feeling at the end of the day, and it absolutely is. If I had had the opportunity, I would have bought one of these hands down, to be able to spec it to go completely wild with MSO. Obviously they encourage customers to make them unique, to do areas of exposed carbon, and to do them all in different specifications. So this one, obviously with its Volcano Orange, with the white accents and some of the gloss exposed carbon, a very, very nice specification. And yeah, just, I don't know, everything about it, just darting it from left to right. The one advantage of the stop signs is that we do get to accelerate away again, but this is what I mean about the steering ratio. You don't need to take your hands off the wheel at all, even for a 90-degree turn. And then you get that out of the other side. So cool, so, so, so good. Anyway, a few more bits and pieces to show you, so we will head back and I will give you a little bit of a tour around some more details about the car that you might or not have already spotted. Fast forward about, well, 2 or 3 minutes and the heavens are starting to open. It looks like a thunderstorm ahead. I'm going to go back, active dynamics panel off, and take this very, very easily, because it's a particularly valuable car and we're running on Trofeo R tyres, and this is not ideal in the slightest. We did kind of expect some bad weather today. I just hoped that I was going to get a clear run without it, and I am very aware right now of what's going on, so hopefully I'll be able to take it gently and get back safely. Yeah. And then to film my outro, I'm going to be standing out in the rain. Delightful. But this thing, amazing drive. I love it. I absolutely love it. I've said that already, I know, but it's such a dialed in car. A fantastic car for those kind of roads, for countryside roads, twisty roads, and I mean exclusivity and specialness is kind of off the scale when it comes to this thing. Again, hands can stay on the wheel. That's something I really like as well. Very, very much about this kind of driving experience. You can hear the noise. You probably get a bit of extra noise from the raindrops going through the scoop as well. Really cool. This isn't quite the outro that I thought it was going to be, but in this weather I don't desperately fancy standing outside of the car right now. But what we can do is have a quick listen combined with a few blips we did earlier on, so that you can hear how this actually sounds. How cool is that then? Inside the car you get all of those noises coming in from over your head, the sounds of the air coming through the roof snorkel. Inside, if you're not familiar with some of the videos I've done with mine, just to show you a little bit more around the interior of the car, you're kind of cocooned into this driver zone. You've got the grab handles on either side for the doors, you've got the electronic door release, you pull that, push it out and it goes upwards and outwards, always very, visually dramatic as well. And just pull that back in. Actually, before we get it too wet inside the car, air conditioning vents finished in carbon fibre Alcantara with the orange stitch to match the exterior. You've got an orange 12 o'clock stripe on this, which is an MSO option to have on the 675 LT. Of course, here on the dashboard, MSO HS as well, revving up to, I think it's about 8,600 RPM, where of course you have a very, very nice feel of the power delivery as you make your way up towards there. A few small digital displays on either side. On the steering wheel, you've got the rocker paddles. If you're not familiar with these, they're connected. So as I pull the left, look at the right one, you will see that moves as well. And the reason for that is basically that you can use your thumbs, or you can pull it, or you can push it, and you can do all sorts of things. And you also heard the clicking. A few people comment about the clicking. The reason for it is that you have precog. So as you pull the paddle, but before it actually clicks, the car detects that that's what you're going to be doing next. So when you do click it, it instantly changes, and it makes a very, very, very quick shift. It's a really cool piece of technology. Lots of actually kind of Formula One technology in this. The rocker paddles, precog, the carbon chassis, the carbon fibre tub that we're sitting inside, brake steer on the wheels to help pull it around corners as well. And then in the centre, you've got this digital display, this vertical display. The climate controller's in here, but you've got all your usual things that you expect. Nav, in the apps you have the track telemetry. This is where you can record your track laps and data, make profiles and set it all up, and that works really very nicely too. Manage drivers, manage your tracks, lots of different settings. If you go back to home, straight back there, and then your air conditioning settings accessed through that. And amusingly, this car has the screen protector on it as well. I've never taken off the screen protector on my 675, so it is very cool that that's still got it as well. Then coming a little bit lower in the central console here, you've got the active dynamics panel, start stop button. All of these are normally silver, so it's an option to have them in black from MSO, as is this toggle up here. But you've got the handling side, the powertrain side. You can put ESC one press of that and it goes actually into dynamic mode, which just gives you a little bit more freedom with power, a little bit more fun as well. Aero, I think, will pitch the wing forward. Can we see this a little bit in the mirror? There we go, just heard it clicking forward. Unfortunately, you can't really see much through the rain. I say this, it's actually basically stopped raining right now, so I'll be able to hop out in a second. And then next to that, you've also got the launch mode. I will just press this for a minute. Electronic handbrake, your usual controls that you expect, lock, and the button for the bonnet. So it's all very, very nice in here. There we go, air brake restricted. To put it down, you need to be driving at 5 miles per hour. But that's not a problem. For the time being then, let me turn the car off and hop on out. Just as I went to open the door, this started again. It's not happening. I'm staying inside to keep dry for now, unfortunately. But this is actually getting really heavy very quickly. The car, though, is fantastic. It's everything that I hoped driving the MSO HS was going to be. It's the same raw feel of the 675 LT, but even better, even more refined, even more taut and raw, and just in every way ticks all the boxes, and it looks so epic as well. Then there's the fact that it's one of only 25. If I had one of these, 100% it would be a keeper in the garage. What a thing, and what an opportunity. So a big thanks to my friend for letting me take this out for a quick drive today, especially now with the conditions we have as well. I apologise to him for that too, but I enjoyed it an awful lot. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video, but that is it for this time. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.